Hello and welcome to my channel where I just sit here and ramble about whatever's on my mind. This is my second time recording this and I'm kind of dying because I just got really off track rambling. I'm gonna do it again. So, ah! So I have three drawings for you today. One of them is a parody of The Man Behind the Gutters, which I have yet to understand. I don't know what The Man Behind the Gutters is exactly, and I'm kind of worried that it's problematic, but my friend sent me a reference and told me to draw Bakugo dying, so I did. I'm kind of proud of how it came out, but I don't know if it's problematic, so yikes. Second piece is a drawing I did of Haru from Fruits Basket because he's the cow and it is the year of the cow. And I did it for the year of the cow. That one and the one after it. They're both on Clip Studio rather than Psy. I'm mixing in some really old stuff with some newer stuff. And the third piece is Piznip from my webcomic as a cat girl, and I don't know how that came about. I have little to no memory comprehension. So, what's today's discussion? Okay, today's discussion is a doozy, and I don't know if I'm really eloquent enough to tackle it, but it's very much from my own experiences, very much from my own observations of the world. So let's get into it. Cue theme song that I don't have. My Discord is going nuts. So, do you ever think about how weird it is that an entire sexuality has been like thrown into cringe culture alongside the likes of Undertale and Steven Universe and various other children's media? Did you ever wonder where that came from? Because I do kind of have the answer, and I haven't seen people talking about this just in my average day-to-day scrolling. But I do have my theories based on my observations, because I came out as asexual in like 2015, in like the peak of the asexual movement before its absolute downfall. I came out of the closet after a lot of research and a lot of testing the waters. I absolutely wrote an entire paper on asexuality before I came out. And then I came out, and I didn't have any really awful experiences apart from constantly having to come out to my mother, constantly having to come out to my family, my brother constantly thinking I was a lesbian. And not understanding my sexuality at all. Like, he knew I was queer at least. He at least knew I wasn't straight. So I did find it easier to say I was gay than to say I was straight. And my mom didn't understand it and still doesn't understand it to this day. It's been 7 years since I came out. And my mother does not understand it. I could get into this with the importance of representation, because I've been waiting for a show to come out that my mom will actually watch, that actually portrays asexuality in a good light, because so far the only thing that I could use is BoJack Horseman, and she hates it. She hates it because there's a talking cat in it. So if you could get like a Western with an asexual character, or like something like hyper realistic that doesn't have talking cats in it, that has asexual representation, that'd be really neat. I think sex ed might be good, but it's a one-off character. She's not good at absorbing information from media. she's definitely the type of person that can watch a show and then forget it exists. So I don't even know if sex ed would work for her. I have to watch it too to vet it, to decide for myself if she'd get it. But so far, really, really only BoJack Horseman has tackled the issue in a way that's approachable for my mom, and my mom won't watch it because there's a talking cat. It's not realistic. Anyway, I've had some slight struggles. I've definitely had a lot of really concerning shit with my dad's side of the family. Before I came out, everything was fine, but it seems like the moment I came out and people finally understood what it meant on my dad's side of the family, it just seemed like all of a sudden, every joke that was being made about me was sexual. Like, I don't know if other asexuals have had this experience, but like, you come out and then all of a sudden people see it as like an excuse to sexualize you, because like maybe if they make you immune to it, you'll be fixed or something. It's very gross, especially coming from family, because I don't know if my family's just that backwoods and hick, but like, it is really weird to hear your family say like, to talk about you having sex. It's really weird. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Have you ever wondered why asexuality gets lumped in with cringe culture? It gets lumped in with traditionally childish family fandoms? I'll give you a hint. It's the infantization, hun. I promise my mouth is functional sometimes. Actually it's not. I go mute sometimes. We're not talking about me going mute. That's not a discussion for today. So, I think I noticed a lot of this phenomena starting around 2017 when the ace exclusion movement was really heavy. So around this time, the asexual tags on Tumblr, which was one of the few places we could actually discuss our issues and actually find other asexuals, was our Tumblr tag, right? And at this time, due to aphobes, the Tumblr tag became a very dangerous place. It became a very horrible environment to be in as an asexual. You'd go on there, and of course, if you follow a tag on Tumblr, it will appear on your feeds. I think Twitter does something similar too, but I don't like following tags anymore for that reason. Also, because my experience with Tumblr is that you follow a tag, and then they give you the same 3 posts over and over again, and it's very irritating. But we can't expect Tumblr to be a functioning website. We can't. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but my ear is acting up. And I bit my tongue earlier, so that hurts. Okay, so around this time, asexual tag, full of death threats, full of porn, full of very violent imagery. It was very difficult to have actual decent discussions about asexuality in these tags, because anyone going into these tags was completely bombarded with asexuals should die and like asexual aphobia, genuine aphobia. And the problem with this was that in order to counter these actual very dangerous posts in this tag, we had to flood the tag with our own remedy, which being just your valid posts. You know, I've seen a lot of hate for the word valid a lot. Like, I see a lot of posts that are like, just call me a slur because someone's saying, hey, you're valid. And then valid gets lumped in with ooh, being, ooh, so small. It gets lumped in a lot with that. And that's part of the same issue I'm discussing in this video. Valid gets lumped in with cringe culture. Valid gets considered cringe culture. Now, I do have my issue. It was coming up a lot last year. People were really absolutely going ham against the word valid. And I was like, this is a phobia. I sound absolutely insane for saying this, but this is a phobia. That is the only thing we were allowed. It got to a point in our tags where the only thing we could say without receiving death threats in our inbox was, hey, you don't deserve to die. And I'm not exaggerating. I have seen some absolutely disgusting things in the asexual tag. And considering how Tumblr is a very Tumblr is a very queer website full of very queer people, and considering this, you would think that they would be a little bit more understanding. They'd be a little bit more less cruel about this, because they could understand the repercussions. But no, asexuals are just whiny children to them. It was definitely a very rough time, and during this time, I stopped interacting with the asexual community a lot because of the flooding, and because it was very easy to lose contact with people. Another thing that I came across of a lot in this tag was there were bots that would spam post. I remember a period of time there was a bot, maybe around 2018. This bot was called Kinbot, and they had a profile pic of Mr. Krabs, and they would only post in 2 tags. They would post extremely incoherent stuff in the kin tag and the asexual tag. And at the time, and I still don't fully understand what the hell kinning is, so I was like, what is this? And sometimes the post would be funny because it's a bot and it's just nonsensical, and that's kind of my sense of humor. But as soon as I kind of clued into what it was, I noped out of there. I blocked the bot so that I would stop seeing the posts, because holy moly, I wasn't seeing any posts about asexuality. I was getting posts that said random computer generated sentences. So that was absolutely a very easy time to fall off the community and not communicate with other asexuals unless they were in your circle. And it was also during this time when I saw a lot of posts. I didn't usually see them on Tumblr, but I saw a lot of posts that were like, someone would be talking about their day, or someone would be talking about LGBT rights or something, and somebody would come by claiming that OP was an aphobe for some random straw man reason. Often these accounts weren't actually made by asexuals. Oftentimes these accounts were made by aphobes, that were made by exclusionists, that purposefully made these accounts to kind of sully the asexual name, if that makes sense. And I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I watched it happen, and I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see them often on Tumblr, but I saw them on other sites, reposted. It was kind of similar to the phenomena of the fake stories on Tumblr, where people would like take very low notes, nobody cares fake posts, and post them on other sites. Like, I don't think these posts were actually that popular on Tumblr, but they get spread around other websites. I think actually the people that were making these accounts were posting them on other sites, similar to the fake stories phenomena. they would make these posts. These posts wouldn't necessarily get a lot of notes or any attention on Tumblr, but they'd be posted on aphobic sites. I'm still getting Discord notifications. They'd be posted on other sites, and I would see them just in the wild, like, and they'd be funny sometimes, but there was a darker side of it where, due to these posts, it kind of became very normal to cringe at asexuals. It became very cringe in itself to call out aphobia. It became very we got lumped in with children. We got lumped in with a lot of fandoms as well, that were, because oftentimes they would have like an Undertale or Steven Universe profile pic, and or any number of anime or kids cartoons that are considered cringe, and people would associate them with that. It was just all a huge soup of different circumstances that would all lump together into people associating asexuals with this. Because if you were on Tumblr, especially, if you were just going about your day and you've never met an asexual, and you see these posts, the only exposure to asexuals and the ace movement that you get are from these posts, you're gonna think asexuals are weird and whiny and childish and don't deserve rights. And it kind of was a great way that the exclusionists kind of built their movement, and it was very detrimental and dangerous to the ace community. And even to this day, I don't completely actively engage in the community. There's a couple groups that I'll join, and I'll specifically follow like asexual pages, but I don't engage in public communities because they can be rife with a lot of dangerous stuff. And anyone could post in there, anyone could be using tactics, or anyone could be doing some sneaky shit. Anyone could post porn in that page, you know? I mean, not so much now that like porn's pretty much banned on everything, but they could still post very dangerous stuff. And because of that, like I also had to take asexual out of my bio, because like I would attract some really good friends that way, and I have attracted some really good friends that way, but I took it out of my bio because I was attracted, like if I'd be talking in some public feed about something that had nothing to do with my asexuality, that would kind of sometimes come into play if it was on my profile. So I did end up taking it out of my profiles a lot, and I stopped posting about it, and I stopped talking about it. And it also doesn't help that most of the posts you can find about it are really outdated and really old, and usually not very useful anymore, because we can't talk about the bigger issue. We can't talk about how the housing crisis affects us, and how how we kind of, exclusionists and TERFs kind of have a similar community. And I am running out of time here, so I am going to have to wrap it up and maybe do another episode. But basically what I've noticed is that the asexuals that I meet now in my life, I don't know are asexual until after I've met them. Like, I will naturally attract them because, you attract your own, but on the other hand, like, they're just as quiet about it. And sometimes it's a personal choice, but sometimes it's like, yeah, they've been burned before. They've seen some stuff before. So, anyway, next time you're cringe posting, just keep an eye. Keep an eye on what you're cringing at. And if you're tying any kind of sexuality or gender identity into it. So, I'm running out of time here, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up. But follow me on social media. Chick Xander on everything. Chick.Xander on my art Instagram. But drink water and stuff. Take care of your bodies. Don't really listen to me too deeply. And watch what you cringe at, genuinely.